Hi guys, it's been a while, so I want to do another tech talk video explaining how I use the transducers I've had on my rig for almost 1 year, and what the benefits of tactile feedback is, maybe not in depth, but briefly explaining and showing how it works, what kind of hardware you need, and how to set up the software. Take a look.
As you can see, I opted for a 4-channel setup. I believe it's the perfect amount, but you can do how you like. But vibration spreads and is hard to isolate if you have too many units. So this is also why I grouped the 2 small transducers under the pedal plate in Simhub, as you barely can feel the difference between left and right. Also, this is why I quickly abandoned the 1 transducer per wheel theory. As vibration travels, I believe having transducers close to the body is ideal. That's why the 2 seat transducers are mounted on individual plates and in between the seat and slider for maximum contact. You could bolt them to the seat, but I believe this was a better solution for me. Having them separated makes it easy to distinguish. I use the front transducers to mimic curves, and it just feels awesome and just approves your line on track when you are on the limit. The rear transducer is simulating the wheel slip, and it's a very separate effect that grows when the angle gets bigger, and it basically hits my back. If we take a closer look, you can see how I mounted them, and you can still use the seat slider. Very convenient. And right beneath this base plate are the 2 small transducers, and you can run the wiring in the profile to the back and then to the amplifier, and then the mini jacks running from the amplifier all the way underneath up to the USB sound card.
Okay guys, so how is all this working? As you know, I have 4 transducers, 1 amp with this 4-channel amp, and is connected with the 4 channels to the sound card, the USB sound card I have connected to the PC, and that is connected to the Simhub software. And in there I can control all the channels.
Okay guys, so now we know how the hardware setup is. Let's look how the hardware communicates with the computer and Simhub. First off, you need to make sure the sound card has its driver installed. Wireless headset is here, and here is the sound card, which is a 5.1 USB sound card. We press properties, and a good thing I can recommend is just rename it here so it doesn't have some kind of... So you know this sound device is only for transducers. So rename it here if you like, but the important thing is press bigger speakers, put it on quad, so it has 4 different channels. Don't know if you could hear that, but they actually work as mono speakers. It's a 4-channel amp. Put it to 4-channel in Windows, and of course never forget in the settings of the software from the device to put it as a 4-speaker setup. Then Simhub will recognize it as 4-channel, and you can use that. So it's the same here. Left front, right front. This is the super Asian sound. Anyway, this is essential, and then you can move on to work with Simhub. We're set up. Let's look a bit on how the input translates to the hardware from Simhub. Open up Simhub and go to the Shake It Bass shakers. So let's have a look at how the channels are set up in my case. You can do it how you like, but yeah, I think the most essential and important thing you will know about the using transducers is separating the channels, as I said earlier. Well, let's look at my configuration here. You can open a separate window. I'll just minimize that. So, as said, it has up to 8 channels. Use a 4-channel amp. Then this is how I've set it up. Not gonna go into details. The point is, again, to not enable all effects on all channels on all transducers. So like engine vibration is really not essential for sim racing, if you might say. It just adds a little immersion. And it might say 100% here, but the effects, which I'll cover in a moment, are much less. You can fine tune it. Here it's just what devices or what transducer is enabled for what effect. So you can really pinpoint and customize the effects to what transducer and what amount of effect it will get. As you see, there's a lot of options to enable transducers, but again, I'm separating them. And in example here, wheel slip, which I think is quite essential for sim racing. When you can feel the rear is starting to slide, the car rotates, then I have that totally separate. Only the gear shift overrides it, and the road impacts. They don't override, sorry. But yeah, this is how it looks. I'll go into how to fine-tune the adjustments. Again, separate the channels. That's the most essential thing. Don't overdo it, even though lots of these effects could be nice to have. I only use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 effects out of the, I don't know, 20 effects, how many there are. 5 effects, and I try to separate the channels. This is essential to do before you start fine-tuning the actual effects. Now let's look at the actual settings in Simhub. And then you press Effects Profile. So, as you see, gear shift, engine vibration, wheel slip, road impacts, and road rumble. That's what I use. You can use whatever you like. You can play with it forever. There's no limit. And you can also, in this is quite smart, you can tell if this effect has to be separated into multiple channels, as you see here. Like a left and a right channel. Let's say you put the transducers, as most people want on their, or think they want on using transducers in sim racing. So you put one in each corner, and you think you can simulate how a real car feels. Ideally, that would be nice, and some people might succeed with it, but it's really hard to distinguish a vibration in one corner of the rig. I would recommend to go with the proper, what do you call that, when you use these pneumatic setups instead. A vibration spreads, so that's why I separated them into basically 3. The front with the 2 below the pedals, the one below my thighs, and the one for my back. I can distinguish the effects quite easily between. So that's why I also only put these as mono. You see one big green square. If it's separated into 2, it separates the effects from left to right. That's really cool. You can even do a 4-corner. So theoretically, you drive over a curb, you can feel it on the front left corner, you can feel it on the rear left, and stuff like that. In my case, it simulates the same. So when I hit that, both the transducers enable at the same time. The ones that I have enabled in the previous sheet. Again, it's up to you what you choose, but my recommendation, and I think goes most people that's been playing with this, keep it simple, don't add too many effects. One would say this is even too much, but as you can see, some of them are prioritized higher than others. I'll start up iRacing, and we can have a look at some of the examples and how I do it here, and why I've chosen things I've done and how it feels. Let's get it on. I'll take the F3 because the feeling is awesome, and Hungaroring even better. Good curbs and yeah, very fun. So let's run through the effects briefly. Which one I have enabled for what channel. So as you can see, I only use 5 of all the effects possible. Have them all in mono, so they are very clear and distinct. Not try to simulate left-right side of the car. I only have the wheel slip in high priority alongside the gear shift because that's just a brief effect. It doesn't really overwrite a lot of the others as it's so quick. So yeah, I would not put engine vibration as a priority. So yeah, I also have the road rumble, which is the curbs. But as you can see, road rumble, I use the 3 here. They are on high priority, and this one is high priority. So that means they will never overwrite each other. Let's add the wheel slip, corner impact, and rumble. See all of them at the same time, and you can see how the simulator tries to simulate them into the transducers. And again, you can adjust it just the way you want, how quick the response is, how strong it is, what hertz, like, you know, how deep the pitch, small pitch, big, what do you call it, sound wave, vibration effect will vary depending on how you put. And you see the road impacts on test here, it's very deep, and that's 41 hertz, and just vibrates the entire rig, and like you can feel the entire house. But when you pass curbs, it just gives that nice feeling of you driving over the curbs. And again, it helps me feel when I'm closer to the limit, or, you know, at least I know I hit the curb, or I didn't, you know. So that's an awesome feeling to have. As you see, the wheel slip is a bit different. It's a bit higher pitched. And down here we have also a higher pitched road rumble. So that's more like, I think, road texture. So have a look. So get on. And remember, just because the effect is shown there, it's not 100% active. It's not on off. You know, it can be a gradual process. Let's do a lap and see what happens when I slide the car too much and what I hit when the curves. Have a look here. See, I hit the curb, nothing, and then I hit the gravel. This is not the. See, the road impact gives me something. That's the suspension, but not the road rumble. And when I start to slide, you can see the wheel slip is activating very hard. So curbs, this feels just amazing. It's just you're trying to hit the curbs when you get this. It's so nice. Cold tires, so don't bother my lines, and I can't see the apex even. I have to look a bit around the corner here. And maybe I'm wrong, but ABS is not output. Like this car doesn't have ABS. Oh shit, I hit the grass. This car does not have ABS anyway, but you could add it for another sim on the ABS and make it vibrate when the ABS is activated. iRacing doesn't have it enabled, so people don't add some kind of cheat. Then you can make software that would disable, or I don't know, try to over. See the wheel slip down. I was sliding too much, and I could feel it in the back and in the wheel. But these two things combined, the good force feedback and the transducer, as you saw there out of the corner, it just gives so much more immersion and feedback. I really enjoy it. followed my channel for some time, also on Instagram, I can recommend to follow. You will have seen that Lasse Sørensen, who's actually been driving F3 on this track, got and tried setup here with transducers, and I really liked it. And I also have had Benjamin, the race coach. He also gave it a go in my time trial, and he also liked the transducers and the effects it gives. They had different opinions about the head tracking though, but that's different talk. Yeah, check the telemetry here. And I can feel those curves. Yeah. Everybody in the house can feel the curves when I hit them. So yeah, this is how it works. I could definitely recommend to get this upgrade. It is do-it-yourself and quite cheap. Got all the things in the description. You can check it out. And to conclude the video, I would say this. I would, if I turn it off, if I turn off the amp, it is just like night and day. I don't want to drive without it. Like a lot of things in SimRacing, you know, it's nice to have and so on. And if you disable it, like let's say you remove the triples, you want to go back to triples. Try the DD, you want to drive with the DD. So yeah, this is how it works. Let's try and make a slide here. See the wheel slip. So it just vibrates like crazy, you know, because I'm out. I think that's the best way I can showcase it. Again, separate the effects in the output and be strict about how you set up the settings on the output you're looking for. And to the topic of using transducers in your system, as I said, the immersion just rises extremely. It adds so much to the force feedback you have from your wheel already. I really enjoy that. I wouldn't drive without it. You gotta be strict, don't add all the effects, only a few, and make some of them, prioritizing others, like wheel slip. I think it's quite essential, it gives a good feeling. I have 4 channels. I use the 2 in the front under the pedal plate as one, primarily. And not like a left and right, which I initially thought would be a good way to do. Because the vibration just spreads so good, so you can't distinguish if it's the left one or the right one. Not really, it's very hard, especially while driving. So I use them as one, and then I have the transducer below me, under my thighs, ass. That gives a different feel. And then I have the one on the back. And using these 3 in different effects makes it easier for the game, or for me to feel what the game is telling me, or the car is telling me. So that's the way I would set it up. And again, it won't make you faster, but the immersion is just there. I wouldn't drive without it. And combined with the force feedback, it's like you get feedback from down under and from your hands, and that's just awesome. And even from your feet, you know. So these things combined, and with the head tracking, you can really get some fun for cheap money. It's cheaper than buying the bass shakers, I think, and it's more customizable. I really like that. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video.